I'm standing on the quayside at Southampton Dock. Behind me, you'll see the impressive Saga Pearl 2. I'm about to get on her in a minute, and much later on tonight, we are setting sail on a voyage to Norway in search of the Northern Lights. Now, I'm told that there's a pretty good chance at this time of year that we might well see them. I'm very excited about all this. Not only is it the beautiful Saga Pearl 2's inaugural cruise, but I've never been on a cruise before. I'm really looking forward to it.
Hello.
We set sail last night, and after a fantastic night's sleep in a really comfy bed and a delicious breakfast this morning, we're here in the Straits of Dover. Over there, you can see France, and I think just round that corner is Calais. And if you can look over there, you'll see the white cliffs of Dover, glinting in the morning sun. Now, I think what happens next is we leave the Straits of Dover and we go out into the North Sea and we head off towards Norway. Can't wait. As my fellow passengers basked in the sunshine while the ship made her way across the North Sea, I went to meet a very important member of the crew. Cruise director Tanya Whitehurst is responsible for all the entertainment on board and the excursions on shore. And I asked her to describe the itinerary of the Saga Pearl 2's inaugural cruise.
Well, as you know, we're heading up looking for the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, which of course is, well, we're hoping it's not going to be elusive, but it certainly has a reputation of being slightly elusive. We head up to Alta, which is a place we're going to be staying for a couple of days, and this will give you the opportunity to look for the Aurora Borealis, as well as do things like dog sledding through pine forests and things, so that will be exciting. Also, you can go and stay in an ice hotel overnight. I don't know if you'll get the chance to do that, but certainly that looks really exciting. And then we carry on up the Norwegian coast to Tromsø. Lots of beautiful things to see there. And then further down, later on in the cruise, after you've got off, we're going to be heading back down the Norwegian coast, calling into some of the other smaller ports of call, before we end up back in Southampton in 18 days' time.
Well, I can hardly wait. I wish I was staying on board for the whole trip, I must say. Tonight's a big night on board ship. It's the captain's cocktail party, followed by the formal dinner. So I thought I'd pop down and see the girls in the spa, have a bit of beauty treatment.
I'm going to pop these on so you can relax.
Oh, I'm already relaxed. I decided to treat myself to the full works. A facial, a hairdo, and a manicure. I think I'm ready. The captain's cocktail party is a real tradition on board the Saga ships. And the beauty of a ship this size is that the captain really can and does meet every passenger. Hello, lovely to meet you.
Had a good day today?
Yes, I have a very good day. And what a beautiful ship you've got.
Great,
really comfortable and
Would you care for a photograph of me?
I certainly would.
Well, I would. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy the party.
I
Lovely
will.
to meet you.
And you.
Hello, Mark. Nice to see you.
Hello, how are you? Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Would you like some champagne?
I would. I'd love one. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Cheers. The party is a great way to meet fellow passengers, and what really struck me was how relaxed and friendly everyone was.
We've handpicked crews from each of the ships and put them on here, so you'll all recognise, I'm sure. So with that, have a great evening. Looking forward to a wonderful cruise together. Thank you.
After the cocktail party, there was a delicious dinner, which gave everyone a chance to get to know each other early on in the cruise. After dinner, there was some colourful entertainment. A night at the Big Top. The ship has its own orchestra, trio and pianist, and a wide variety of well-known artists perform on board, including the internationally acclaimed opera singer Annette Wardell. The next day, the skies were blue, but it was getting noticeably colder. At lunchtime, the captain made an important announcement.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain speaking. Well, we're still progressing to the northeast at around 15.5 knots. At 12:50 this afternoon, we crossed into the Arctic Circle. We crossed over the latitude of 66 degrees 33 minutes north. To starboard at the moment, about 7 miles off, you can see the dramatic snow-covered mainland of Norway, a group of islands called Trina. The mountains themselves are around about 1,500 meters in height, so this is why you get a good view of them so far away.
Captain McClundy, you're the captain of the Saga Pearl 2 on this inaugural cruise. It's a pretty nice job to get. How did you manage that?
I fell into it by chance, really. I chose in my early career to go to sea. My father was a captain and I just wanted to be a ship's captain of any sort. And I thought back in 1997 I would try cruise ships for 4 months just to put on my CV, and then I would go off and do something else, and that was 13 years ago, so I'm still here. I never reckoned myself to be a people person. I thought I was fairly shy, but the company promoted me quickly. I've been master with Saga now for 10 years and thoroughly enjoying it, so here I am.
So what do you think is so special about this ship?
I would have to say the ship's company, the crew. They themselves really do bring the ship alive.
It seems a really happy ship, I must say.
Well, I think this is one of the reasons why I've stayed with Saga as long as I have, because they themselves make my job so much easier. And I know our very loyal passengers love them to bits as well. We find passengers who haven't been on board for years come across the gangway, and their steward has a wonderful memory. They know their name, what they drink at the bar. It's just wonderful. So the crew themselves, I find, is the greatest asset we've got.
The ship has a comfortable and well-stocked library, a great place to spend days at sea. Alternatively, you might like to attend one of the many classes or lectures on board. This lecture was being given by Earth scientist Dr. Peter Cattermole.
This is a place we're going to. Those rocks, 3,800 million years old.
Peter, I found your lecture absolutely fascinating. But you're not just on this ship to give lectures, are you? Can you tell me a bit about what else you do?
The lecture's just a part of the whole cruise thing, because one of the advantages of being on a ship like this is we pop into a whole series of different places.
You mentioned fjords. Can you just give me a little sort of short version of exactly how they were formed?
Yeah, it's quite straightforward, really. I mean, Norway was covered in an ice sheet during the last ice age, which ended about 10,000 years ago. And when you have a landmass with river valleys, the ice fills the valleys, and when ice moves down valleys, it scours them into a very steep-sided U-shape. So you get very distinct glacial valleys like we get in Britain now when the ice is gone. And once the ice melts, they are left behind, and the sea rushes in, and you end up with a sea-inundated, steep-sided U-shaped valley, and that's exactly what a fjord is.
Knowing how fjords were formed made the final approach to Alta even more interesting. For some of the crew, the snow was a real novelty. It's amazing how a bit of snow brings out the child in all of us. The town of Alta was the most northerly destination of the cruise, and it would be our base for a couple of days' worth of excursions, including the hunt for the Northern Lights. The first excursion was the much-anticipated dog sledding expedition. And as we disembarked, the captain and hotel director laid on some impromptu entertainment. wooden sledges are pulled by huskies, and many of these dogs have just completed a 600-mile dog sled race, the longest in Europe.
So here's Eric, and he's going to direct the whole thing.
Just following me.
Or you can put them up here if you want to.
And what do I do with this? It's fantastic! The dogs, as they run along, they just take big bites out of the snow because they get so hot and thirsty. And now we've stopped, they're just rolling in the snow and rubbing their noses in it. What an experience. That was the best. I was curious to learn more about the hotel operation on board the ship. And so after the dog sledding, I spoke to Horst Pint, the hotel director. I started by asking him to explain exactly what his job entailed.
Hotel director encompasses basically all the services on board, mainly food and beverage and finances, housekeeping, basically what you, our passengers, enjoy on a daily basis.
It's a massive thing. You oversaw the refurbishment of the ship.
Yeah, I was here since December, early December all the way through, and it's quite interesting to see how it all came to life. You know, because you start with the early stages where you see everything in bits here, as you can imagine, and all of a sudden in the last sort of 2 weeks of the refit, it's all refurbished. All the cabins have been refurbished completely, gutted, and we have put in new bathrooms, power showers, and it's just great.
Of course, it has to be right from the beginning of the cruise.
Absolutely, and our passengers, who we have known for many years, lots of them are repeat clientele, and they want to have it right.
I presume regular cruise travellers must recognise you.
Oh yes, I've been here for so many years, so it's quite nice to see them back again.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's our strength. We look after them, and they look after us at the same time.
What's the difference between running a hotel on sea and running one on land?
Well, at sea, I think you're more close to the customer. Where on land, if you run a hotel as a general manager or hotel manager, you meet if you ever meet somebody, you meet them for 24 hours, 48 hours, or the weekend, what have you. But here you actually have the chance to be with them for 14 days, sometimes on the World Cruise for 105 days. And I think that's the best part of it, where you can develop beautiful passenger-employee relationship with the guests.
Tea time, the best meal of the day. And after you've been out on an excursion, it's fantastic to come back here and have a cuppa and a sandwich or two and a piece of cake and a scone. Look at all these. I mean, what are they? There's cheese and tomato sandwiches and turkey and scones with jam and cream and homemade biscuits and cakes. Just look at those cakes. It makes someone want to cry. They're so beautiful. I want to eat them all. And these, look at these, all the work. This is fantastic. Where am I going to start? With a nice big cake, I think. Oh, bliss. The person responsible for all of the food on board is Executive Chef Gavin Baxter, who I spoke to on our way into Alta. Gavin, life on board this ship really revolves around meal times, doesn't it?
It's a key focus for the day, and people just look forward to it so much. Passenger-wise, we have a capacity here of 450, currently carrying about 400. We have a crew of around about 280. If you look at breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea time, dinner, late-night snack, and also running a 24-hour room service, which we do, you're looking at about 2,000 plus meals a day.
So actually, in the galley, you must have people working virtually 24/7.
I do. I have a team of 3 bakers working through the night. They start in the evening, 10 o'clock, work through the night. So for breakfast time, we have an array of fresh croissants and other pastries. and also to have the room service running, which I have a specific chef working on that during the night. We're fortunate in here. We have a total team breakdown that we have like the carver on board. He also does all the sandwiches for tea time. Then we have, like Noel, for example, who's in charge of the tea time desserts and assisted by Jacob, the pastry chef.
And I know you do specific requests too, don't you?
Everybody has a little request. We can give detail to specific people with specific requests.
And I know you buy all the fruit and vegetables fresh when you visit a port.
Yeah, we're always looking to source whatever we can locally. People are very enthusiastic about local fresh produce, and it makes a big difference.
You have 2 dining rooms. You have the formal one, and you have the veranda. The food is exactly the same in each restaurant, isn't it?
It is exactly the same. We're offering, in the restaurant is full service, and also go up to the casual dining upstairs in the veranda. Passengers require different things. The passengers which are dining upstairs, they love it. And actually, there's some passengers which just specifically prefer the casual dining experience.
Yes.
And they're dining upstairs every day.
Up to 2,000 meals a day, 30 chefs. The kitchen is indeed a busy place.
Yes, I like cruising.
But back to the serious business of looking for the Northern Lights. After a good dinner with the snow falling and the temperature at -10, we wrapped up and headed 35 miles south to the place where we were told we would have the best chance of seeing the lights. On arrival at the location, it felt like the middle of nowhere. We followed a line of candles to the edge of a field. It's very difficult to capture the Northern Lights on video because it's not possible to get a 30-second exposure on one shot. So this is a photograph taken by our cameraman on his still camera using a very long exposure. Even though the display was very faint and lasted only a short time, it was very impressive. Before we left Alta, there was time for one more adventure amid spectacular scenery. A 20-mile safari on snowmobiles.
Do you understand me? Yes.
The family that runs the Adventure Centre here also runs the Igloo Hotel. And after the safari, I was given a guided tour.
Hello, Kai. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We're going to go directly into the igloo to have a look around.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Tell me a bit about the whole building process.
Every year we use about 6 weeks to build the whole hotel.
All these sculptures then that are everywhere, and even the bar tables and the bar itself, everything in fact, even the light fittings. Who does all the carving and the sculptures?
The carving is done by the chef and one of his men.
And I notice you've got a chapel as well.
Yeah, we have about 16 weddings every year.
Do any of them spend the night afterwards?
Yes, they do, in the bridal suite.
Oh,
so,
how lovely.
Yeah.
It must be a bit chilly.
A bit chilly, but you get to snuggle up a good.
Yes. And people can sit at the bar and have a drink.
Yes. Would you like one?
I certainly would.
We can find some glasses. Of course, they are made of ice.
Oh my word, they are. They're so clear.
And in this bar, we only serve one drink. It's called the Blue Igloo. And it is with alcohol, of course. If not, it will freeze. And it will warm you right up.
Oh, good. And what does the Blue Igloo consist of?
The Blue Igloo consists of vodka and blue curacao. So it's a very easy and very good drink.
Wow. Cheers.
Skål.
In the afternoon, the ship set sail for Tromsø, the beginning of her journey south. This, sadly, was the last leg of my journey on board the Saga Pearl too. As the sun set and we passed yet more unforgettable scenery, I spoke to some of the passengers about their cruise. One of the passengers on board is the doyenne of television travel programmes, Judith Chalmers, and I asked her what she thought of the Saga Pearl too.
I love the ship, Kim. I think it's very refreshing. I love the new decor, the blues and all the wood everywhere, nice light furniture, and the areas where people are having the superb food, which I think really is superb. It's keeping on the tradition of Saga food. Are so wide open, and so they make me sort of do that. I love that space.
Yes.
And where we listen to the piano and where we play Trivial Pursuits in the Discovery Lounge. No, I've taken to it very quickly.
And so, it seems, have the other passengers.
The staff are absolutely brilliant. I've never been treated in such a way before as on this cruise.
The crew are fantastic. They bend over backwards to accommodate you.
We like the atmosphere. The captain on this ship particularly is very caring.
I just love the crew, they're so helpful.
You just can't ask any more of them.
They really look after you.
Everybody is so friendly and chatty. It really isn't a problem being on your own at all. What drew me to this cruise was the Northern Lights and just the itinerary of the whole cruise, coming to Norway, seeing the fjords. It's a country I've always wanted to visit, and I wanted to see it in winter time and take part in all the winter sports and activities.
I enjoyed the whole experience of being out in the snow at, you know, close to midnight, and campfires and all that kind of Girl Guide stuff, so it was good.
We went to the Ice Hotel last night and it was fantastic.
Heard so much about it, but there's nothing like actually being there. The sculptures were just works of art.
I think we've both been surprised at how active you can be on this cruise.
The snowmobile was absolutely fantastic, out of this world.
The dog sledding, that was magical. It was something out of a fairy tale.
You don't realise how powerful the dogs are, and they really fight away, and you know that's all they want to do is to race, and that was quite an experience.
I enjoyed every minute, every minute.
It's been an amazing 10 days. Having never been on a cruise before, I really didn't know what to expect, but the excursions are amazing. I really don't know which one I preferred, the husky dogs or the snowmobile. And then the passengers are such fun. As every day goes by, you start to share funny stories about your excursions from the day before. And then the ship itself is absolutely beautiful. Lots of lovely open spaces and wood and beautiful light decor. And then you have that sense of stepping back in time. And yet you've got internet access, you've got beautiful, powerful showers. But I have to say for me, the highlight of this whole trip has been the crew. They're so friendly and helpful. I'll really miss them all. It's been a delightful trip.
This is my first Saga cruise. And I shall be coming again.
This was a big change for us, and a nice one, I must admit.
It's my ideal. I'm picked up at the back door. My cases I don't see until I get into the cabin, and I'm so looked after all the way through. Yes, it's just a wonderful holiday. It's a true holiday, it really is.